Hello. It's a Tracy Tara day.
I don't know why I gave a thumbs up. If you're listening, I thumbs up to you. It was weird.
I'm so happy you're here. Our dear Tanya is out, being the change that she wants to see in the world. Um, but Tara, so generously, we had this planned already, and then this week happened. I said, "Oh, this is it. This is the duo to talk about this week." I can't wait.
CarSon destruction cycle. I've tried to warn people about it.
You did. You did. You did. Well, before we hop in the show, how was your week?
It was good. I was sick a few weeks ago from when I went to Disneyland. A
Mm.
child sneezed in my face on a ride. Yes. I was like, wow. The second you trust things and then they sneeze in your face, and then I got sick. It wasn't COVID, but it happened when I had like my own work due, and then like the essays came in, so I had like 54 essays to grade, and so I've just been playing catch up for the past like
Mhm.
week and a half. I'm finally caught up, so like this week was okay, and plus we're gonna see Vanna next week, so
Ooh, I have so much work to do. This month is going to be a wild month. I used to travel all the time for work, like pre-pandemic. I lived on the road. I probably spent more pre-pandemic. I probably traveled more than I was at home.
mm,
Because like we live in California, and so much of the work happens on the coast, but my work was happening like East Coast, and like some of the Midwest. And so pre-pandemic, I lived out of a suitcase. I was on these streets. Um, and so now people are trying to pretend like the pandemic is over and do more stuff. So June, I'm pretty much on the road all month.
damn.
I'm nervous about it, but I am gonna be masked up, vitamin C'd up. Um, yeah, so I got so much like presentation stuff to prep. So basically, this week between today and Vanna is like my prep week. So I'm about to be deep in the computer. I'm binging All American. I had never watched it. So I'm in season 3, like, what's about to happen? Uh, like, I'm
That's
into it.
that's me with Ted Lasso.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
So as soon as we're done, I'm gonna continue that journey. I don't know how Jason Sudeikis can win a PR war against his ex from a character on a TV show, but he's winning.
He is. It's unfortunate. That's because I'll come on here every week. People hate women. I mean, I don't know nothing about his wife or whatever, but I know people hate women. Anyway,
Are
this week
some
is just
things, but also people hate women.
yeah. So this week is going to be wild. But I am very excited to go to Sacramento, see everybody. Some of that, how like when you do presentation. I mean, I know because you're academic, you know this. Some stuff is like stuff that you could do while you're doing other things. It's just like very like you know, just I can type while I'm watching TV. So I have like half of that and half is like very deep thought work. So I have to be
Mhm.
like in it. So I have a little playlist. It's yeah. So when you see me for Vanna, please do not judge me for the drinking I'm about to be doing. At
Same.
the least with a 2 drink minimum. I have a 3 drink minimum.
I agree, same. It's week 9. So like the weekend that we'll be in Sacramento is right before week 10, which is the last week of the school year.
Yeah.
And where everyone decides they want to be an A student. And so I too will be drinking. It's just always like, how do I get an A in this class? And it's like, well, honey, you haven't done anything for 9 weeks. And now you're asking me in week 10 how we get an A.
Can I tell you the kind of student I was? So I was the person who binged everything up. Like people would be like, "Oh my gosh, you have so much promise," and I'd be getting like an A, and then I would like slack off in the middle, and at the end I'd be like, "Y'all got some extra credit." So I'm probably your worst nightmare of a student.
I mean, it's interesting. I went to undergrad at UC Santa Cruz, which is a small UC. And now I teach at UC Santa Barbara, which is like a big one and has like an athletics program. And so we just have a lot of athletes who are, there for a reason. And that's the thing, is that they're very much like, you are here to be an athlete, and that's what we care about. But they can only be an athlete if they have a certain grade point average. And I can't speak for other universities, but at this university, we are not handing out grades. We don't do that. And so we do.
Handing out a grade if they tried to make you.
I mean, like, that's between you and the chair of the department, but this is the grade you got. Like, I've failed athletes before, and I've walked through the campus and heard people tell people that they are no longer on their athletic scholarship because of that. And so, like, I'm not saying, like, I believe that, like, a school, like, this is not to, we love you, Eden and Will, if you watch. I would believe it at USC just because it's so important at SC for their athletics program. But UC's, like, we're a publicly funded school, honey. No, no, you need to get a grade. You need to be in class, like. And sometimes they can't help it. Like, sometimes they're literally going to be out from your section like 3 or 4 times during the quarter, which is almost half. And they can't be punished for that. So it's like, well, it's still up to you to, like, make extra time to come and see me to, like, make that stuff up. Like, section is like a discussion. If you're not here to discuss, then I can't grade you.
You're a student athlete, heavy on the student.
That part. But I'll pay you, remember?
You want to get into the week? I have a little
Yes, we are here for GH.
All right, ready. Let's do this recap. Tracy confirms her spot as top Chillin shipper as she takes Chase out to lunch and takes all the Chase men to task. Her conversation sparks Chase to sing his love to BLQ, and the two of them are now reunited, and it feels so good. Speaking of Tracy, Carly and Drew believe digging up dirt on her will somehow get Ned to help them get out of the SEC mess that they made themselves. My favorite thing is, like, they're like, how can anybody think that we insider traded? Well, all we did was insider trade. How dare they?
I was trying to help my son. Why don't these people understand? It was my son.
Like, oh, your son, this is different. Anyway. Diane advises Carly that there is a strong case against her, and her only real options are to turn in Drew or Sunny, but she says she's a down-ass chick, and that's a non-starter.
Snitches.
Carly is having a no good, very bad week when she mistakenly believes that Olivia kicked her husband out of her house out of loyalty to Carly. She didn't. She also finds out that Sunny is engaged by seeing him and Nina toasting it up at the Metro Court. Her kids are also a mess. Joss and Michael are beefing over Dex, while Willow is waiting for a bone marrow transplant. Also, Dex, for some reason, is fighting with Spencer naked. In here, I don't look at my notes. I wrote hot tub. It's very much not a hot tub. I don't know why it's a hot tub.
They're not a sauna.
But anyway, they were still fighting naked, so that part was true. Sunny and Nina tell Avery and Ava about their engagement. Ava reminds Nina that CarSon range just don't let up. And when Sunny finds out she called the SEC on crew, she would be on the outs. This prompts Nina to say, I'm about to go harder in the paint and really get Carly locked up. She does not consider that her new fiance might sacrifice himself for Carly, but she does try to get info out of Diane and manipulate Olivia. Meanwhile, Sam is running through all of the reasons Kristina is not a good business person, while Molly and TJ are trying to work through Molly's endometriosis diagnosis. With nuKristina and Temp Molly in tow, the Davis girls try to pull it together. Portia apologizes to Jordan, and it's awkward. Jordan confides in Anna. Curtis decides to go home to his wife, despite kissing his ex-wife last week. But don't worry, he'll be in a separate room. Also happening, Anna gives Robert romantic advice. Cody and Sasha make some sort of peace. Miss Wu says she doesn't want peace. and Gladys continues to essentially rob Sasha while Sasha gets ready to get out of her conservatorship. It's been a week. What did you think about it? What was your favorite moment of the week?
Ooh, a lot happened. A lot happened. I have a few favorite moments.
Yeah, give me a
Um,
couple. Give me a few.
Tracy reading the shit out of both Chase and his daddy, like calling him Jeremy, which is his new name, by the way. It's Jeremy now. I don't know anyone named Gregory. His name is Jeremy. Finn holding the boombox, just looking like I have an Emmy. And I'm holding a boombox. Sunny telling bold-faced lies during his proposal, like Nina helped him get through the worst time of his life. That one time he had to give up drinking, I guess, or like the CarSon divorce. Definitely not this. Not this. Not not his
So
stomach blowing up.
if you're listening, both Tara and I have like Zoom backgrounds. So Tara has Morgan's headstone.
Mhm.
This is so
Loving memory. And
and I have Carly Spencer's kitchen where the moss is flourishing.
okay, just for my CarSon diehards, because you're coming out of the woods just like at the beginning of Wizard of Oz after the witch died and all the like they're coming out. When Sunny threw the towel to Carly, I tell you, I like swam back to the CarSon ship. I was like like
I
I
was
never
like,
left.
no, stand up. Don't do it. Don't let this towel toss get you.
Damn you, Maurice Bernard. Damn you, Laura Wright. And then he just started sacrificing himself for her. And they were making pancakes for their child that they had to replace Morgan with. It was amazing.
Donna is a little doll. Is she not the cutest little thing?
She's adorable. Oh my God. They just be finding the cutest CarSon babies. It's crazy.
I am not a CarSon shipper, but I am anti-Sona shipper with my heart and soul. If Sona has a million haters, I am one in a million. Um, if the world loves Sona, it is me against the world. And if Sona has zero haters, I got swallowed by a black hole because even in my death, I would hate them so much I would still count as a Sona hater. So that's how much I hate them.
I'm the
Um,
Alexander Hamilton of hating Sona.
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Added in my will.
And for real, for real, for real. I love so many moments this week as well. I loved Ava's face. Like just every time Nina would talk, Ava would be like, I'm not leaving my kid here with you. Like it was just I loved that. I loved when Olivia was like, girl, no, I ain't leave my husband. Like it was just because it was the audacity of both Jocelyn and Carly this week that really got me. Like just the level of audacity of both of these characters that I love so much that I was just
Olivia was like, you insider traded.
you did that. And I don't know why they so loudly keep proclaiming they did it. I'm like, can't y'all just lie and say you didn't? I don't know. But like I loved that. Um I loved um when the Sabrina moment, and I'll talk more about it, but when she was like, Dexter look hurt. Like it was just like Tabiana's delivery is so good. Like I obviously love her as Trina and want her as Trina, my Trina forever, but that girl needs to be on a sitcom because her comedic timing is so good every time. It's just like it's like it's the kind of comedic timing that cannot be taught. That's how good she is. It's so funny. And so that's like some of my favorite moments. Oh, and Diane and Nina. Every moment of that was my favorite. And it at the end when Nina got real unhinged, it was like, you lonely, ain't you, bitch? Like it was just like
I love the way Diane handled it because, like, as much as I love Carly, how she handles things is not how I handle things. How Diane handled it when she was just like, "Girl, you must be confused. Um, we are not friends, so any like diving into my personal life is unwelcome." So
I'm charging your fiance for this.
yeah, I'm gonna go sit in my car until he gets here.
Woo, so good.
And then Nina's like, I'm not good at making friends. Okay. Like when bitches tell me that, I'm like, what are you doing to scare people off?
Here's my thing about, I mean, I know we're gonna deep dive into Nina, but part of like what bothers me so much is when she says stuff like that. When she's like, I don't have any family. You don't? You have a lot of family. You have Oprah, you have James, you have Max, you have Georgie. Like you have so much family. Like literally the only people who do not mess with mess with Nina are people who mess with Carly. Even some of Sunny's family, like you're like, wow, we won't have any family time. Y'all just had Thanksgiving last year. Like it's just like she says stuff and I'm like, is that true? Like, do you really believe that's true?
I liked Ava correcting her when she was like, why does Carly get to have a storybook ending? She was like, Carly's about to go to prison. What are you saying? Like, what do
You just
you
got this big ass
mean?
ring on your finger. What do you mean? Like it's so weird. It's so weird. Anyway, I know we're gonna talk a lot about her. Let's talk about who was your performer of the week.
Ooh, performer of the week. Oddly enough, I think I have to give it to me. This is gonna sound weird, and this is not trying to like. It's Nina Reeves. I'm sorry. Cynthia was unhinged. Like, this is the first time I feel like she's been given the direction to just go crazy and not be like, let me rationalize, or they've written the lines for her to where they're not trying to rationalize her crazy ass behavior. They're just letting her be unhinged. And Tracy's staring at me like I'm crazy, but I swear to God, I told Britta I was gonna do this. I was like, Cynthia, for the first time, I feel like I'm not being gaslit by Nina. I know she's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I never have had a problem with Cynthia. You know this. Like we don't like yeah, she's talented for
That's what
sure.
I was saying about the writing. Like, I feel like they finally, with the writing, like her performance is, she's good at doing what they tell her to do. And like what they've told her for the last 2 years is that, like, you are in the right. And here's how Carly and Michael are wrong. And I feel like they're finally like, your character is unhinged. Like, your character officially has everything that they want. And they're still like, no, I'm gonna dig deeper. And just even the last scene with her and Olivia, and she's like, it's so sad what's happening to Carly and yes, queen. This is the type of behavior I like. Because I maintain that I am definitely like hurt that Carly didn't keep the Willow secret to be petty. I hate that they wrote it that way. I hate that she has things to stand on with that, and that like the only people who needed to be mad at her are not mad at her. Like, I don't care about Sunny and Nina being mad at her. They're supposed to be mad at her. But like Michael and Willow, it should have been to be petty so they could be mad at her. And it had to be, no, it's altruistic. None of this is altruistic. When she was like, I'm trying to do this for the right reasons. I just want Willow to depend on me and no one but me. And I was like, what are you saying? And so, yes, my performer of the week, just for being so damn nutty, is Cynthia Watros, Nina
I get
Reed.
that. I get that. I don't like I said, I don't have a problem with Cynthia. I think she does a great job making me mad most of the time with her performances. So and
Was
we talked
mad for the
before
right
about
reasons.
We talked, Tanya and I have talked a couple weeks ago about, I think the Tanya gave her performer of the week a couple weeks ago because there was like this way that she kind of like weaved in and out of story. Like she's very talented. Like that's never been the issue. It's the character. And
Yeah,
I,
but
and
I
I,
feel like
I
people
hope that
think that I have an issue with Cynthia Watros, and I do not.
no, never.
Like, no, never. It's this, the issue has always been how Nina is written. And this, like, and it's not just Nina, it's all of them. It's Sunny, it's Carly, it's Drew, it's kind of Tracy in the moment. It's this idea that everyone has a reason and none of the reasons are selfish. No, they're all fucking selfish. Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I mean, I hope that it never comes across, and I never have thought you had a problem with Cynthia. I really hope that it comes across that that's not. I think all of these actresses are extremely talented, and I've said many, many times that GH has, especially when it comes to actresses, the best actresses in daytime, bar none. Nobody is touching our actresses. And I think that even Eden said it in her interview with Michael Fairman, she was like, yeah, like Maura and Laura didn't like submit because like who's touching it?
mhm,
And that was just true. So yeah, for sure. Um, Even though she was only on for a very short time, I thought Lydia Lux sent Selena Wu this week. Woo, it was just like the right amount of like menacing, but also like sexy. It's just like every time she shows up, she shuts it down every single time. You believe her as like a person who's a rival to Sunny. And so often you can't get a real rival to him because people are either like unlikable or whatever. And like she has, I truly believe that like Lydia Look has is the person or is like the reason that we have this Selena Wu character that sticks around so much because of her performances. And so when Gladys was like sitting there and her cute ass bodyguard like sat down, it was just like I'm scared for Gladys. Like, girl, what are you doing?
mhm,
Or when they were like leaving and she was like, yeah, Sonny will owe me a favor. It was like I totally believed her as like schooling this bodyguard, like, let me take you under my wing and let you know how we run shit. So I just really appreciate her as just like a boss and not like this kind of good character. She's very much the anti-hero. She's very, and she owns it. And she's not like trying to play some sort of, like to your point, like some sort of like motive around it. Her motive is power.
mhm.
Her motive is like building power for herself and her family. And I think that we don't have enough characters like that. And part of that is because it's very hard to pull that off as an actor. People are always looking for like, how do I make sure that people like me? How do I find this extra spark? And like she is the spark. So even though we only had her for like a very short time, for me she was just like the performance. And then the other performance I really liked this week was Jocelyn, was Eden's Jocelyn, because she is being a messy mess. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like when Trina was talking to her, like, why would you be beefing with your brother when Willow's like laying up in the hospital? Like it was just, she was a mess. But I appreciate it. It was like two separate incidences where she was so smug and proud of herself. Like when she was like, when Carly said something about her not liking Nina, she was like, sure haven't made a she was like, sure haven't made a secret about that. And she kind of like smiled at herself and was like very pleased with herself. And she did the same thing with Sunny. It just cracked me up, like that choice in the moment. That was like, I'm not trying to be nice. I'm not trying to be whatever. I don't like these people. And that made me
Yeah,
laugh.
she was real fucking surprised that Sunny didn't tell her he was engaged. Like, why didn't he tell me? I thought we were family. And it's like, girl, like, did you just call him a piece of shit? And then ask him for a favor, and then the next time you saw him, you were like,
Why are you here?
yeah, didn't you lose this in the divorce? Get out.
And so I can appreciate those. I think that maybe that like the consistency. I appreciate people who are not trying to make their characters likable, but are just playing it. Like you could like it or you could not like it. And I appreciate both of those performances for that. Yeah. So let's talk about what's working. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first.
Sure. Um, what is working for me? Tracy Angelica Quartermain. She's so good. And like I laughed so hard because it was so many things. So first I forgot that Tracy and Finn were friends. Like I don't know why I forgot that, but I had completely forgot they were friends. And she's so good for Finn's character. Like this character who has just done nothing but annoy me, to the point where I'm like defending Elizabeth Weber with my life, and I would never. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, get out of this relationship with her. Like comes in and all he needed was like these moments with Tracy, and it really clicked for me that Finn is like kind of a jackass character in a way. He's like very give and take. He like has to have like a rapport with somebody. I think that's why he worked really well with Anna, because like they were very much like back and forth and like quirky and all that. um and with somebody who's a smart ass like that, you can't also have them trying to play hero. And so that's why he came off as so overbearing with Elizabeth. So it's just like aside from the fact that I didn't think they had any chemistry, their characters just don't work together. And so anyway, like just seeing him with Tracy was a reminder that, oh yeah, I don't have to hate Finn as much as I thought I hated him. Um, there was like two moments this week where I noticed that that other actors almost like broke from laughing at her. So when she was at the Metro Court and she was like talking to Chase and what's the dad's name now? What do we call him?
Jeremy.
Chase and Jeremy. She like was talking about Chase and she was like, and Brooklyn is blinded by all of that. And like, you could tell Josh Wicker was trying so hard not to laugh. Like it was like so clear. And then there was another point where they were at the house and they were arguing, and Drew was there, and you could tell Cameron Matheson almost broke, like because he was like kind of standing behind her, and so everybody had like said something about her, and he just like Cameron was just like he was trying so hard not to laugh. And I was just like, Tracy just classes up the place, as Tracy's do. She just classes up the place. She is just, when she said Venn diagram of revenge, I cackled. Like, so funny. And just also, we know she has a secret. We know she's in town for something. Of course, I want to know, but just her presence makes it feel like Quartermains are here now. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell Wally is having a great time having her back. She's so good with Brooklyn. I love the dynamic with her and Olivia. Just like having Tracy back just like cements this family back. And it also is a callback. And I guess we didn't even think about, I don't even think that either of us were thinking about talking about this like that. But so often, like with these stories, they keep trying to make people kind of likable and give people all of this motivation. And it's like, whatever. And so with Tracy there, and then reminding you of her past, they're reminding you of a time when people just did shit.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, yeah, you withhold your daddy's medication? Like, yeah, she did that. So like
Mm-hmm.
we're over here mad at whoever, whatever character for doing like some petty shit. Like people are mad at Joss for like telling Sonny to get out the house. And it's like, Tracy withheld his medication, like her daddy's medication. It's just like a reminder of a time when those kind of things were happening in soaps. And so I appreciate them continuing to bring in her history, because I think that's like regrounding us in a time where people can act a little bit unhinged and then just be redeemed, and then you move on to the next thing. So I've really enjoyed her being back, and I'm just like, don't leave us, Tracy, don't leave us. What about for you?
Um, what's working for me? I have a couple things. Um, and this, I had no doubt. I did want to be more apprehensive than I was. Kate Matthews as Christina is working for me. It worked the second she walked in the door. And I really did want to be like, that's Abigail Devereaux. And I did not. Uh,
Mhm.
it's clear that she did her research. I really liked the scenes with her, Nancy, and Kelly. I'm not gonna. I talked about Temp Molly on Brit's Face, and like she's a temporary recast, and soaps are very hard, and it seems like where Kate was like very much like looked for and prepped and gotten like Haley got into an accident, they had to get a temp, and so she had as much
All
time.
the accident. Yes.
Yeah, she had, yeah, she caused the accident exactly. Like, so they had to get a tent and they had to film scenes, and we can see how they were literally picking up scenes from us, like an other set essentially. So like Haley was on the set with TJ in the outfit, and then the next scene it's Tent Molly going to Alexa's house. And so, and like some people think that perhaps it was more successful because you had the exact or you had the juxtaposition of Tent Molly next to nuKristina. I disagree. I was on board before Tent Molly showed up. I was on board when they had the fight and Sam called Christina a bum because I'm more than confident that like I'm now writing the story for Christina. And the story is she's a bum and everybody knows it. It's not a secret. Sam was like, what kind of bum ass planning is this? Like, what do you mean you hired a graphic designer before you hired a plumber? Are you insane? And so, and then her just being super, but I should believe in me. Like, we've heard it a million times for Christina, like people not believing in her, and the next thing you know, she's in a cult. And so, that really, really worked for me. The second thing I'm gonna save to see what else you think worked and see the same thing, and then because I know we're gonna get into another storyline.
Oh, I liked Kate as I mean I like Kate Mancy as an actress. I still am like sad that we don't have Lexi. I thought that Lexi has just I mean I'm used to seeing her and I feel like there is something about doing right by soap actors. But I had no doubt that Kate was gonna be good. She's excellent. She's an Emmy winning actress for a reason. I have absolutely no doubt about her performances. I thought that she had really great chemistry with Sam, especially at the that kind of last scene where they had together where they were on the steps. Kate's, I mean, I'm a fan of Kate, so I have no doubt and had no doubt and have no doubt that she will be excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Not working for me, this forced ass drama between the young adult set. I why um why does why do Spencer and Dex need to be fighting? For what? Take Trina on a date. That's it. There's no reason that the young adult set already has so much going on that forcing drama right now between like the actors is like why the Sprina story already has the drama of Esme and all of that, which I hate. So why give them the drama of like Jex? For what? It doesn't make sense. Um,
It seems more like they're giving Jax the drama of Spencer.
yeah, I don't
Because
the
Spencer's dialogue was fucking nuts. When he was like, Joss's favorite movie is this, and Joss's favorite food is that. And Joss, I was like, bro, are you in love with Joss? What are you saying? Like, I
and
understand what you're trying to say, but
yeah.
the dialogue is insanity. Like,
And I wonder if that's why the way Nicholas played it as an actor when Joss came in and hugged him was very standoffish. Like he was just like, "Why are you here?" You know what I'm saying? Like his energy was not like that he wanted to be anywhere near her. And so I wonder if it's because he like read this next scene and was like, let me make sure that my physicality in the scene before that does not lend to this thought that like Spencer is like trying to get with Joss. So I kind of wonder if that was an acting choice he made, because that dialogue was weird. Like, you don't know her favorite color. You don't know, like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, it was just and the other thing, I mean, and I've talked with you about this. Spencer is a rough character. I like characters like him. I've always loved characters like Spencer. Um, and part of like the thing that I've loved about them is the soft edges they have with the people that they care about. So Spencer used to have a soft edge with Laura. He used to like straighten up, not because Trina told him to straighten up, but because like Trina's mere presence made him straighten up. And they're not doing that for him anymore. So like we've had scenes where he kind of like yelled at Laura. We've had scenes where he's like being like extra whatever with Trina, and it's like that's actually not good for that character. I mean, he's a male character, so he can get away with a lot more than other characters can. He's like a popular, cute male character, so he can get away with a lot more stuff. But it's just not endearing to people, to like me, who has been a fan of this character since he was a child. And again, like I said, like I want to see him and Trina on a date. I want to see him courting her. I want to see him I want to see the art book come back. So you remember the art book that she gave him back at their Spring Ridge breakup? I want to see him give her that back. I want to see just like them yeah, I just really want to see them together in a way that's not what we're seeing. So that wasn't working for me.
I mean, just to jump back, what's working for me is Carsona, not Carsona Reeve, Carsona.
Okay.
Because it is the love. It's not even it's a triangle. It's not a love triangle because I don't actually think Carson can get back together. Like that's not what this is about. This is just like Nina made the fatal mistake of like giving Carson a crisis.
Mm.
And like Carson works best in crisis, in times of crisis. Like it has nothing to do with love. It's all to do with loyalty. And
Right.
so I actually like, I think, some people might be like, why is Sonny telling Carly to turn him in? Like, well, Sonny always tells Carly to turn him in. Like, Sonny actually went to prison to keep Carly out of prison. So like that's actually in character. Why wouldn't like when Nina was like, Carly might will turn you in. No, she won't. No, she won't. Like that's the thing. That's why Sonny has to turn himself in to keep Carly out of jail. And like that's the thing that works is that like you're finally playing to like for 2 years you had Nina be like irrationally insecure about Carly for absolutely no reason. For if anything, she's the only one of Sonny's paramours who didn't have to worry about Carly. Like Brenda had Carly busting in her house without knocking. Sam had to deal with it. Like everyone has had to deal with Carly sort of marking her territory through showing them that she can show up unannounced without knocking to Sonny and Jason's house. And like she's not doing that to Sonny this time, right? Because she's trying to make a clean break. She changed her name. She never changes her name from Parentos unless she gets a new legal last name from a new man. But this time she was like, no, I'm not looking for a new man. I'm not trying to make Sonny jealous. Like, I'm trying to have a clean break. And you had like Nina just irrationally be like, what? Carly, she's trying to ruin everything. And so she did this like really dramatic thing to get rid of her when she didn't need to, right? Because Carly's not trying to do anything. And the one thing, but in trying to do that, she smashed Carson together because as soon as you put one of them in trouble in an issue, the other one will come running.
Right. Right.
And so that's working for me. It kind of just shows that like at least somebody writing understands how an actual like they're not together, but like how this super couple works. Like they're not a traditional super couple because they don't actually need to be in love or married to be CarSon.
Right. Right.
And like for me, I actually miss the friendship of CarSon. It's kind of the roughest part for me for the past 2 years is that they could barely be in a room together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really like the scenes like I said, with Sunny and Carly, but then also when you get Nina, like say Nina and Ava or Nina and Diane, and then finally Nina and Sunny. Though I will say to take it back to what's not working is, and we talked about this, then Nina just casually unhearing Sunny saying that he offered to go to jail.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. Um, what is what so much to say about this story. So first I'll say that I think that these sets of characters are acting more in character than they have for a very, very long time. I think, like I think I said this before, but I think about this exchange on The Office all the time where Pam, like Michael said something and Pam was like, "Who told you that?" And so that's what I think about. Like a lot of times when I see people mad about stuff in this story, I'm like, who told you that? So like this idea that like Nina is like this rival to Carly, in a way that like she would ever be able to win. Like who told you that? She and like you can be mad for sure that like you like this character and she's not whatever, but Nina is not, she's always been a second place weirdo. Like she came to town faking that she was in a wheelchair to get Silas from Sam. Um, I, it's just never been a time when she wasn't that. And so with Valentina, Valentine always wanted to be with Anna. Um, and like, Michelle and Valentine had, or Michelle and JPS obviously had chemistry when it flipped over to a different character, like it wasn't that way. But even like like the character of Nina, I just feel like people need to go back and watch her arc. This is the way she's always been. This is a very consistent, like the behavior, the character traits, all of that. And they just like don't ever play to her story. They only play to the parts of her story that make sense at the moment. So she's about to marry Sonny, and we're not gonna talk about her history with Rick. There's nothing there. We're not gonna say nothing. Um, like she was second choice for Franco. Like this has always been who this character was. And so I think when they had an actress of like Cynthia Watros's like, resume, they tried to change some things around, but it doesn't change who the character fundamentally is. And I was always confused. I'm like, is whether you want her to be or not, Carly and Sunny too are like leads of this show. And so people are bought in to be like foils to the leads sometimes. And like the leads will take losses, but they're not going to lose over the long term. And so, like, if you thought she was going to lose over the long term, who told you that? Like Nell came into town and like, did whatever with her. But like, of course, Nell was not going to win long term. That don't even make sense.
I mean, I don't understand why you can't play a story like this. Because I mean, it's not like a situation like Claudia Zakara where like Nina has this massive secret that's gonna like end her. She's gonna end up with a bullet in her head or like beat to death with a axe handle. It's gonna be like an uncomfortable conversation with Sonny where he stands on a soapbox he doesn't deserve to be on. That someone should kick right from underneath his tiny, tiny leg. And like it's just one of those things like I people have to watch these things all the time, like all the time. And why can't it's sort of a hindrance to the actor to be like, I want your character to be perfect.
Yeah.
Be perfect. Like, no, isn't it more fun to play unhinged?
Yeah, I think that part of it is because, especially with like Carly, they're like really moving her to being like this more matriarch role. And so with that, like they've really changed like a lot of her motivations and a lot of whatever, but they still want her to be front burner. And I think that you talked about this before. Really, like the drama should be from the young adults, from the like middle adults, like the 2030 scene. We should be seeing more Maxie. We should be seeing more Sasha. We should be seeing more BLQ and Chase. Like that's like the people who, and I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't see like older actresses. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying that like we end up not seeing these folks at all to play out real story arcs because so much of the time is going to like CarSona. And like it's not just like when we see them, but it's like so much is also about them. So the whole Jex story is not necessarily about Jex, it's about Sunny. So it's like even though Sunny has the most amount of episodes and is on all the time, not only is he always on, but it's also always about him. Like they're always talking about him. Willow's cancer is not about telling a story about cancer or about Willow or about Millow. It's about telling this like story about Nina and Carly. So even when these two characters are not on, this story is about them. So when Sasha and Willow, for example, are talking, they're talking about they're talking about Nina, not about her children. You know what I mean? Like, so it is always these folks who are like so front and center, when I'm fine with them having arcs, right? But like they really should be taking a step back from so much of the drama and like letting other people play the drama. Or like coming in like how Tracy is and like she stirs some shit up and then she'll take a step back or like whatever it is. But they just don't do that. And I think that ends up getting I think that ends up getting probably tiring and frustrating for the audience, but also like just like a lot of fatigue of just being like, I'm tired of this story. I'm tired of Willow dying. She's been dying forever.
I maintain that all I ever wanted was CarSon in the background washing dishes, which is why so many people enjoyed the CarSon washing dishes scene.
And
Because
like having people like holding court and having people come through and like showing up to events and like and of course, like, when there are big things that happen, you want to like tell the story. But the other problem is they just won't properly tell story. And I mean, I know that it happened before that, and I always go back to Nixon Falls, but it's like Nixon Falls is an example of that and not telling a full story, like a full rounded story. Trina's trial was an example of not telling a full rounded story. So you end up having these like hanging things that are just like written so poorly, but nobody is able to say anything about it, or like they're not addressing it. So like I was saying, just like during Trina's trial, we were like, okay, so what about the fingerprints? Or like we're not gonna check the like cameras at Spring Ridge or whatever. With this like insider trading story, I'm like, why don't y'all just say that y'all didn't know? Or like if Ned did it, but it's trying to say he didn't, why do you need to blackmail him? Why don't you just go to him first and ask him if he'll do it? Like, yeah, of course, blackmail is the fun story, and like we want you to eventually get there, but like you got to give me the reason that we didn't start there.
I don't understand if you already got the SEC involved and like, what do you just like call them back and like, never mind, I made a mistake. Like, how
It
do
just doesn't
you?
make sense.
I just really like that every time Carly describes what she did, it's just always insider trading.
I just insider traded.
She
I
was
did it
just
for my
like,
son.
is it wrong to buy stock in your son's company when he's trying to merge that company with another company and you happen to know that, so you want to inflate the price of the stock? Is that wrong when it's for your son?
And the SEC is supposed to be like, oh, but it was for your son. That changes everything.
But I
Really.
didn't make any money. I made no money, so not guilty.
It's just so silly. I'm like, okay, girl. But like that's the thing. Like again, why are y'all dumb? Carly's not stupid, so why dumb her down? Have her really insider trade. Like, have that actually have been the story that she was doing it. Because this, like, I'm just a girl, a blonde one who doesn't know anything about insider trading. Like, it's for what? It's so silly. And I do think, like what you said, like Nina actually owning it now, because I think that had always been my problem with Nina, that I always was like, oh no girl, this is who you are. And I think that, like, her crying, which is why she's always been very triggering for me, which is that it's like the manipulative nature of her tears that come out whenever she's doing something wild. So, like, even with Diane this week, like, so you insulted her and you was trying to do all this stuff. You weren't actually, there was like a like one of the GH like videos that dropped that was like, Nina just tries to make girl talk with Diane. That's not what Nina was trying to do. Nina was trying to get information. So, like, this idea that she's just trying to make girl talk, and then Diana was so mean to her, and then she had this moment where she got teary-eyed. What? No, she actually, like, so even the way they play this back and forth, like, actually just doesn't match what we're seeing. And so, and like I said, they've never told this complete story from Nina. Like, this idea that, like, Nina lost everything. No, she didn't. The only people who don't like Nina are people connected to Carly.
Like, and people that, Nina doesn't actually like. Because that's the thing, is that, like, and I maintain that this was something that Alexis and Sam had to overcome. The issue with Nina and Willow isn't Carly. The issue with Nina and Willow is the fact that Nina doesn't like Willow, and Willow doesn't like Nina. And unlike Nina, Willow doesn't feel obligated to love Nina. Like, and that's the thing that happened with Sam, like Sam and Alexis. So Alexis did not like Sam, never respected Sam, thought Sam was trash. Then found out she was the long lost daughter she gave up. And so she like fell in love with her. Because she had all this promise and all this stuff. And then like not even the like Rick cheating thing, like way before that, it became very clear that Alexis still did not like Sam, did not like respect Sam, did not want to know Sam, was just very embarrassed to want to change Sam into someone she wanted to know. And once they were like, you know what, we don't like each other, let's just not talk to each other, they were eventually able to find their way back to each other on a different level that wasn't trying to like turn you into the daughter I want and you into the mom I want. Like, and that's sort of the issue. That's always been the issue. And like, I feel like the discussions around it are like, why won't Willow give Nina a chance? Why should Willow give Nina a chance? We are all fucking adults. Like, I don't understand why they're acting like this is like 16-year-old Laura who just found out that Leslie's her mom because the shenanigans happened and she ended up giving away. It's Leslie thought she was dead. Why doesn't she give her a chance? Like, no, this is a woman who is an adult who has 2 children and her own long sordid history with Nina. And not a history she's had a chance to get over before Nina was like throwing herself at her. Right? At least Sam and Alexis had a chance to get over some shit before they found out they were mother and daughter. Nina showed up to the house the day she found out she was Willow's mom to cuss out Michael and call
That's
Willow
not
a
what
dumb
happened.
fuck. Wasn't she calling her like stupid for not getting treatment or something?
That's not when she found out she was Willow's mom. She found out she was Willow's mom at the hospital. So she went
Yeah,
to find out that Willow had cancer, and that's when she went out to cuss out Michael, and Willow basically for being selfish because they were gonna like Willow was sick and gonna like leave Wiley behind.
yeah. And then Carly found out that she had cancer, and that's after that she told her, right?
She told her, but that was in the hospital. So she found out in the chapel, and then she ran to Willow's hospital room with
Mm-hmm.
like no thought. But it wasn't at the house. It was anyway, not at the house. It was at the hospital.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like she went over to the house before all that happened to cuss them out, and then Willow fell out because she like
Right.
ran downstairs like, "Don't take my baby." The whole moment. That would have been my performer of the week that week, Katie McCullough, for that "Don't take my baby" moment. And then you fall out. Um, but yeah, like there's just never been a chance. And then like the reason and it's the same reason I gave Cynthia Performer of the Week. It's like the fact she's been snapping for like a month and a half now since Carly told her that Willow told her that she didn't want to know who her mother was in case it was Nina. She's been breaking down on that, and like she wavers, like you could tell she like shifts between like maybe I am the drama, then back to no, it's Carly, she's ruining everything. And that little like disconnect is what I'm here to see. Like I'm here to see it.
I mean, she's clearly making Nina's making such a fool of Sunny, and she's so clearly unhinged. Like, it was just like the way that she was like talking to her. She was like, she was talking to him. She was like, "Well, Michael and Carly are respecting Willow's wishes. How dare they?" And Sunny was like, "You want to get married, girl?" Like that. What? What are you? It was just like very weird. The whole energy like waving off of her even after the engagement, it was like a child, like, oh my god, they're gonna get me. I hate Sona. It was so, they
Wait,
just make me cringe so bad.
wait, that's your fourth wedding. I don't know why you're so excited, Nina.
It's like, and then like she's my Sunny was like, I'm gonna respect Willow's decision, and she like looked at him like it was a bad thing, or like tried to like turn him against Michael. And then like the excuse, and I think that it's all again like lazy writing, because what they want people to think is like, oh, Nina's not wrong about Michael because look at Dex. But the way she went about it was so ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've explained this to death. I just feel like she is. I feel like the story is not good because they have her using dialogue that is not true.
But it just, for me, it just goes into how unhinged she is, that she's grasping at anything and she's losing with Sunny deciding to respect Willow's wishes, which is honestly respecting Michael's wishes. That's the first time she's ever lost to Michael in their whole relationship. She always wins over Michael. Like it's always like, Michael, you will let Nina do what she wants, or I will fight you. And for the first time, when he decided to go to that wedding without her, and now he's respecting Michael's wishes, therefore respecting Willow's wishes. For in her mind, it's slipping away. It's slipping away. Like she doesn't have that soul. And I don't even think that it was like because of her. I think it was Sunny being such a piece of shit and cannot, and just unbelievable that his family wouldn't just follow his cheating, just go with his cheating. But like these little things that happen, the way he proposed, because what's not working for me is the fucking Sona proposal. Are you insane? You were with me through the worst times of my life. You helped me get through things like with no one else. Okay, well, Carly and Jason got you through breakdowns for decades, so you saying that to her is just insulting, like insulting. The worst times of your life, it was worse than you being locked in a closet as a child while your mom got beat. It was worse than, your son getting shot and kidnapped and you thought he was dead. And like, it was worse than when your daughter got almost blown up, when your son did get blown up, your father dying of Alzheimer's, Stone dying of AIDS. Like, it was worse. Like, 2021 was worse than all that. Like, who's writing this? Or is it like, we didn't write that? Because, like, I would have written it like, you helped me forget the worst times of my life. Like, you're so removed from all that, like, I can focus on the future and yada, yada, yada. Nothing to do with the work. You helped me through the worst time of my life. What, Michael not loving you, the worst time of your life? Michael and me were fighting and now I'm sad. Like, it's just so dumb. And so that was not working for me. There was a way to write it. I would have never liked it because for obvious reasons, but I wouldn't have been offended by it. That's the main thing. And there were people who are like Sona neutral who were in my mentions, like, girl, he said what? And I was like, he said it. He said that she got him through the worst time of his life. And I've never been more offended.
She also was like, he was the best man she knew, and I was like, so just like Nathan, huh? Or any other man that exists. Anyway, it was just bad. And I yeah, I thought it was just bad altogether. And again, like they're just saying shit that is not true. I don't even understand why it's a big deal that Sunny went to that wedding without her. You weren't invited. Like people who are married are not attached at the hip. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? And I think part of the missing pieces of these stories are the rest of Sunny's family.
Mhm.
So we should have seen Christina and Nina make amends, right? Like, because even with Dante, it's not like he likes Nina. He's just like, okay, that's what my dad likes. You know what I mean? Like, I almost lost him. I'm not gonna fight with him about this, whatever. But Christina was the person we really actually should have seen Nina have to make amends with. Because even still, like, she went and broke up Sonny's marriage because she was like listening and being nosy into Christina's conversation. So like it's just like these pieces of the story are missing, and I do think that that causes like some resentment amongst fandom. Like I think like when you force stories, people are like, "What is this?" I think that's like some of the resent. I'm not all of it, but I think that's some resentment about that Carly gets because of Charlie. Because like Jason has like fandoms, couples that are very strong with like two other women on the show. And so not only did you put Carly and Jason together, but then y'all forced it. Like you have Monica be like, this was cool. Like, or you know, just like forced it. So when you force things and you don't tell like good story, that like you're never gonna get people on board. You're never gonna get the audience on board. And so I think that's also what happened with Sona. Like, I mean, there are obviously people who are on board with Sona in the same way there were some people who are on board with Charlie, but like it's not a popular thing because you haven't written it in a way that's careful and caring to like the fandom that is switching. So anyway, all of that to say, Sona bad. Interested to see what happens next. Do you have any hot takes?
Um, I feel bad for Finn just having to hold boom boxes, be in scenes with Tracy, remind us when he used to wear a sweater vest. He's a better character. That was interesting.
um,
He's a psychopath who turned down a free trip to Disney World.
was it World or Land? Oh no, World. You're right.
There's more parts.
That's funny.
Part of me, because like we're gonna plan a Disney trip, and part of me just for convenience is like, yeah, let's go to Disneyland. But then also there's more parks in Florida. There's more money involved, but there's just more options. Like, what if we want to see giraffes out of our window? We can stay at Animal Kingdom.
There's also Florida involved.
That's so true. I don't want to give them money.
Um, I have a few things because I just like rewatched the week. Um, one light thing that I thought was very cute is that Evan cannot hide how much he likes Tabiana. It's very, very cute. He like kind of lights up like a kid when he sees her. So like when he was like saying goodbye to her, it's just like so clear that like Evan, Eden, and Tabiana have such a good rapport off screen that they can't like hide it when they're in their scenes with each other. And so like when Tabiana and Eden were like talking when the boys weren't in the scene, they were very cute together. I just like really was tickled by that. I really enjoy the young adult scene. I don't like some of the writing sometimes, but I enjoy them, and I think they put a lot of effort into their work together. I thought they were cute.
It is very cute. Um, Curtis is giving Sunny Corinthos in 2004. Um, just out here kissing other women and then going back to his wife and being like, now that you are sufficiently sorry, I will come home and I will work on you and only you because you're the issue in this marriage, not me, not my lies.
Let's get into Curtis. So first of all, I will say this. I don't care for the Drew and Curtis friendship. I think it's just because they don't have really good friend chem to me. When it was Billy, I thought they had like a better rapport. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't like them together. Um, I don't understand what they're doing with Curtis. They have so few black male leads. And I'm not saying that you need to like make Curtis extremely likable or make him perfect, but you certainly don't have to write him like this. You made this man's whole character. The two things we know about Curtis is he hates people lying to him and that he gonna save him a white woman. Those are the two things that we know about Curtis. And so to have him like cheat and lie and then like manipulate the women around him and pit two black women against each other, it's wild. So like you're gonna go home to Portia after you basically almost have sex with Jordan. Where I don't know where y'all was gonna go have sex, but you definitely was telling her, let's get out of here. And then you didn't like give Jordan a heads up that you were going home to your wife. You had them running into each other. It's bad. It's just bad. And they don't write Curtis as if he's the bad guy, even though he does wild bad guy things, like work with the mob and not tell anybody. Like, I don't know what they're doing with him. It's not good. It's not cute.
Writing him like an Erica Badu lyric in the 90s. Very
Better
upsetting.
call Tyrone.
Mhm.
And Curtis can't use my phone.
He doesn't know anyone named Tyrone. He only knows the Drews and Nina of the world. He avoids people named Tyrone.
um, Josh Swicker is very cute. It has a lot of charisma. I do not need to hear him sing anymore. I don't need.
Why do they do this thing? And it's like they cut the song commercial, and it's like, cool, it's great, we're done. And then they play like four scenes, right? Like, oh, what's CarSon doing? Oh, let's go look at Leo. And then they go pick up right with Chase, right where he left off when they get back to him. And it's like, do you think we need to hear the end of the song? Like, is this song going to be on iTunes later? Like, I don't think it will.
I do not ever need to hear it.
How do people keep getting on the Quartermain property? Seems like in the backyard, like the front door is the opposite direction. Also, how do people keep getting into Greystone Manor? Because people keep using the back kitchen door, and I'm like, why is there so many entrances onto this mob complex? It's like they took away the CarSon living room. Like I almost put the CarSon living room up. I decided for Morgan's tombstone, but like I almost put that up, but they totally yeeted that set because I ain't never seen the front door since Sunny. Like Sunny got the front door in the divorce.
That's true, he did.
I hope he throws one of those statues when he finds out what Nina did to Donna's mom. I'm gonna start calling Carly that.
um, what was that basic ass song Brooklyn was writing? It was like she was sitting there writing it, and then like when she was like talking it out, like I like spoke the next lyric because it was that basic.
She
Stop
was
it.
giving me she was giving me in seventh grade when I was emo.
Yeah.
All is darkness and my soul is black. And you're just like, girl.
No, because that was a better lyric than what she was writing. She was just like, I'm so sad and it's bad. I get mad with that lad. Like, it was just like, okay, Brooklyn, like, sis, this is not it.
This
Mm-mm.
is what happens when you hire an actor who doesn't sing, does not musically talented to play a musically talented character.
No, they could have written something better. That wasn't her. That was not Brooklyn's fault or
But that's
Emily's
what I'm
fault.
saying is that like I honestly believe that Adrian was the one writing most of that stuff. And then like Wally only did covers.
That's
Only did
right.
covers.
That's right.
And so I think they were just stealing from Adrian.
Well, they should have stole from somebody else because that wasn't it. Mm-mm.
She was so sad. She was like, I am so sad. I can't have Chase and his police badge and his moral outrage near me 24/7. I'm sad.
You have any more hot takes?
What else happened? I was very, very happy to not see Esme. I did not miss her.
Oh, so happy.
Like, I did not, like, her baby's very cute, but the CarSon, unnecessary CarSon baby's cuter. And she talks. So, have
Okay.
enough unnecessary babies. Remember the unnecessary Julian Jerome baby? That's an adorable baby now, Leo. Like, we have plenty of unnecessary babies. Remember the time they gave J Sam a baby and then they decided that Billy Miller wasn't going to be Jason anymore? So now she's a random dream baby. Plenty of random babies. There's plenty, and we don't need any more.
Leave Scout alone.
Scout.
Justice for Scout. Um,
Lulu is the unnecessary Luke and Laura baby. I maintain that. Technically, I'm older than her. And she was useless in 1994, and she's useless now.
then how would Nicholas have come to town if baby Lulu didn't need something?
The useless Cassadine baby.
Nicholas?
Nobody needed to know how many times Laura had been raped. They were like, everyone's raped Laura. It's crazy. And she had everyone's baby. And I was like, why?
I can't talk about it. Um,
Drama in the soap made it worth it, but all I'm saying is that like how many times did we need to know about Laura? Like the only reason why I'm okay with Laura being so crazy, even though I am vice president and treasurer of the Friends of Port Charles, the only reason I'm okay with it is because I know how hard of a life she's had. All these men were trash, all of them, including Kevin.
um, let me just very plainly talk about what I want for Trina. So I want them to put Sprina on a date and like do very cute things with Sprina. That's what I want. I want cute, happy things. I thought it was really cool to like just see them in the gym and like casually talking and having a kiss and like that's what we want for them. Like they are like they everything doesn't have to be epic. Like, of course, like you want those epic moments for your couple, but you also want those like slice of life moments. I want him to kind of be nervous, like picking her up for like dinner at the Metro Court and like giving her presents and gifts because Trina deserves. I want Trina to go back to work because so much of like her story is about Sprina and like obviously like great characters have great romances, but great characters also hold their own characterizations. And so we loved Trina as a character before Sprina. Trina being a strong character is what makes Sprina special. So she needs to like be able because Spencer will always have other stories like Spencer, like Nicholas Chavez, like leads and episode counts. Like the Cassadines will always have story. So and it won't be like Sprina related. And Trina, but like Trina should also have story that is not Sprina related. because she is a character on her own. And so I really want that for her. And I feel like they are not doing right by her. Um, they took her, like, they're taking, like, the parts of her personality that were very strong, we don't get to see as much. So, like, she was really big into art. We don't get to see her at work. Like, we never saw her at the Chuck. We don't see her in the gallery anymore. When she was like a boss at the gallery. Bring that back. I want to see her in class. I want to hear about her getting straight A's. Like, those things, and I would like build out some of the young adult set as well, like having them in school. Send Spencer to school. Jocelyn's supposed to be a doctor, send her to school. Like, we should see some of that stuff as well. Like, let these characters be well-rounded characters outside of their drama. And that's why it's important when we have like the scaling back of like the Carsona drama, for example, because if that scales back, then that means that we get to see this other thing. Um, and like, I mean, like, what's going on with Pikeman? What's going on with the story? Like, we have all of these things just like hanging because we have too many things going on. And I would rather, especially as summer is coming up, see a story that really focuses on the young adults and like helps them be like full characters, especially Trina. That's
Agreed.
my soapbox.
I mean, agree. That's my whole thing. The reason I always loved CarSon prior to 2021 was because they were so like they were everywhere and they were nowhere. They were always at home. Like maybe you would see Carly. Like it wasn't until Nixon Falls that it seemed like, we had to figure out what to do with Carly because like you didn't really want to have her at home all the time anymore. And then like all of a sudden she was like owner slash part-time hostess at the Metro Court restaurant. It was very weird. And now she just seems like she's everywhere because they focus on her rather than. I maintain that Michael should have been the one keeping the Willow Nina secret. Carly could have found out about it and been like, Team Michael, let's lie. But it always should have been Michael. It should have been his story.
Yeah.
And then like Sunny and Carly are these periphery people, and like as opposed to having like Sunny cussing out Carly in the chapel over it, it should have been him cussing out Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And then Michael trying to be like, well, I did it for my wife or my fiance. I think he was a fiance at the time. And having that. But like it's just so deep on them. This whole Jex thing should be more front and center. Like they should all be in it. And like hopefully with Kate Mancy's casting, I don't know why they couldn't do it with Lexi. I'm not gonna speculate between whether or not it was the actor or the production, but like if Kate Mancy is here and on contract, hopefully you'll get more of that. And like there'll be more of Christina in it, which will have Dante in it. I think all of Sunny's kids should be front and center.
Mm-hmm.
And then do with them as will. But like you can't have it like if we're gonna have it be Sunny's kids versus Carly's kids, which is how they've seemingly split this, where Michael is the in between because he's both Sunny and Carly's kid, but they're very much making this Christina, Dante, who are not Carly's kids, versus Michael and Jocelyn, who are. And then Michael is now moving closer to the middle on this and so now it's Jocelyn versus Sunny's kids.
Yeah.
Which is good, but I don't need it being Jex versus Spencer. I honestly want them to just reconcile Sprina and Jex, and so it can be young adults versus regular adults and older vets. Like they should be a team. This whole thing. The thing I was thinking about with the Sana fight, like I would have rewritten this for him to be champion Cameron. Like you didn't
Yeah.
know that Cameron did this every year for Jocelyn, and Cameron was out here doing this and working all this for his parents, his brothers, and his mom. And Cameron, not how well he knew Joss, but like what a great person Cameron was, and how you're a piece of shit
Right.
from
Because,
mom's.
because I really I really thought it was important, the scene where Michael was like talking about why Dex was so like attached to Jocelyn. He was like, he
Mhm.
doesn't have any family. You have provided him with this, right? And so there feels like there's like almost like this kind of almost classist a little bit thing that it's happening, like like he is not good enough for you. You are like young, you have all this potential, and he is stuck and he has nobody and nothing. And I think that Spencer, it would have been more interesting to see Spencer kind of reinforce that. Like, we have been friends all our life. Cameron went to go play like, soccer. He has this future ahead of him. That's the kind of guy that Josh is gonna want to be with, not a guy like you. As
Yeah,
opposed to being like, do you know about how well I know her? Like, that's like silly dialogue, when it really should be about what it's actually about, which is like that Dex, as he is and as people know him, is actually not good enough for Joss. Like, that is like what they're trying to set up, and that would have been a more interesting. That would have been more interesting dialogue. But
yeah.
like I said, I do think that like Michael's explanation of why Dex was so attached to Joss was important. I think the other thing that's like a little bit frustrating to me is when like I keep hearing like, we don't know Dex, we don't know Dex. Like, we know Dex just as well as we know Sasha. Like, his backstory just as well as we know Sasha's. Like, you we I would rather, like, I mean, if we spent all this time like deep diving into Dex's like background, people will be mad about that too. Like, this is what happens when you bring a new character on. Like, you slowly get to learn them. We might also like find out he's related. Like, I've read a lot of theories about him being related to, like, I mean, obviously we got homies that want him related to Dante or like Dante's son. I've heard a lot of AJ theories, which would, mess up my crack ship of Michael and Dex. But like, I've heard a lot of AJ, and that Tracy knows, um as like a theory, just a father and son meet hook situation. Um
I mean, another replacement Morgan, I see. Get Michael another younger brother.
I mean, if we don't get Morgan back, we might have to get a replacement. You know what I'm saying?
I will always champion for Morgan to come back, the superior CarSon child.
uh,
Vanna is very adorable. She is also disloyal. So is Avery. Dante, we already knew about. He been snitching since he showed up. But the
Avery is like
baby
probably
girl,
flower girl. I need to know when somebody's gonna give Avery her backstory with her stepmama. Anyway, anyway, um, this Christina story, though I like Kate Mancy, is dumb. Hire somebody. What are we talking about? Sunny is rich. What you mean fundraisers? Like, what are we talking? Like, I thought that you were just handed a blank check. What is happening? Like, I know maybe you set up a foundation, but like Sunny should help you get a consultant and all this and all that. That would have been more interesting story. Like, you get a consultant, Christina falls in love with the consultant. I don't know, something. But like, this idea that she's just like on her own, like checking out fonts on Canva, is absurd. Like, you're too rich for this.
he just bought her like an industrial warehouse and was like, girl, make it into a foundation.
Girl, do your thing.
Mm-hmm. Cinderella status. You have some nice magical rodents. Will help spin this shit into gold. Like, but like I said, I love that it goes into like this idea that she is a complete and utter bum. Always has been. And I hate how they like illustrated her bumness. So like the way she dresses is the way I dress, where it's like a white t-shirt and some jeans. And so I'm like, why is this the bum outfit? Like everyone else is like, I worked really hard on this outfit, like Sam's pants, so like they cost like $400. And like here comes Chrissy with her like Levi's from Target and her like $10 New Day t-shirt. And I'm like, that's my exact outfit. That No, I wore the New Day dress that cost $20. And I was like, ugh, I guess I'm a bum too. Like,
Stop it. Stop.
no, I have way more degrees than Chrissy. Chrissy kept dropping out because she found out that like you had to. She either didn't get in the way she wanted. Like, I don't care how I get into Yale, I'm gonna go. And then she thought she could like bang her way to the top. Like, girl, read a book.
Your Christina hate kills me every time. My God.
Ooh, when she tried to bang her professor, that's when I was like, I'm done with you, girl. Read a book. It is so not hard to just do the fucking readings. Just sell your body to get through college. Jesus. I know some people who do, but it's not because they didn't read. It's because they need to pay tuition, but like not because you have several people willing to pay tuition. You just don't want to read. So no sympathy.
Ooh, I just um I was gonna say oh, I just wanted to clarify. When Nina was like, Willow told me to make peace with Carly. No, she didn't. Willow told you to leave Carly alone. She didn't say nothing about peace. And she said it, and I feel like there was like this whole thing. I mean, I have my long-standing beef with Soap Hub, which I think is one of the worst publications I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
Agreed.
Um, but like they did this whole article. This is why I knew that they had really lost the plot because they were like saying that Willow was a villain, and I was like, y'all gotta go. Like she's a villain for not liking Nina, but Nina's not a villain. Okay. Anyway,
A
like,
selfish bitch dying of cancer. What a selfish cunt.
but it was like people acted like Willow brought Nina in to be cruel to tell her not to like, whatever with Carly. And that was never the point. The point is your beef with Carly is about me. And I don't want you to beef with her about me. So let it go. It was never about you making peace. Well, I didn't ask you to do that. Like it's just it like but I also feel like sometimes because it's said was said by Nina or said like enough times, like that becomes like the story that people run with. And I'm like, that's actually not what Willow said. And like there's no, I think when people don't, and I do the same thing, but like when we don't like characters, there's no like grace given around like the writing is bad or this is bad or there's like a bad storytelling. It's just like this bitch da, da, da. So like with me as a person who's always like Spencer, I'm just like, this, what is going on here? This writing is stupid. um like if there's a character you like Joss, it becomes like this just like selfish monster, even though her and Spencer are cut from the same cloth. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like no grace given for characters you don't like, even though we want grace for characters that we do. And I'm the same way. It's just like a observation. I'm just like, all of this is bad. Chris and Dan have been quiet quitting for a while. Hopefully, when the writer's strike is over, something like switches up
Hopefully.
because these two, terrible. They got Anna Devane on, but didn't have her nowhere near Valentine all week. I gotta watch her talk to Jordan about Curtis. I'd rather her talk to Jordan about outfits.
I mean, it's also funny to me where everyone, like not everybody, but like there's people who are like, I don't know why people think it's Ned. You mean besides the point that the part where Ned like actually vocalized that he would call the SDC on Carly Drew, and then it happened? Yeah, but like he cares about ELQ. He's been captain for Valentine for a year and a half. He voted for him to be CEO. Well, he wanted to work with Ned and Mike or Michael and Drew. Well, he didn't tell him that. Remember? Because Carly got arrested before he could talk to him. Like, there's plenty of reasons why people think it's Ned. Like, why doesn't Olivia, like, Olivia literally told Carly to fuck off and, like, launched into, like, well, you were guilty. Ned was just telling the truth. Her saying that kind of made me mad. Like he was just telling the truth. So truth teller Ned like just had the SEC in his phone, just out here making sure the truth is known to the government because his love for America. Is that what you just said to me?
Yeah, I think it would be. I mean, I know what they're doing because they want everybody to think it was Ned, and they're trying to play this like whatever. But I actually think it would make more sense if Olivia believed that Ned didn't do it. I mean, I think it's funny that like both Olivia and Tracy are just like, "Oh yeah, you did that shit." like Ned, like Ned keeps being like, "No," and Tracy's like, "Sure." Wink, wink. Um, Also, before I forget this, um, Brooklyn and Drew, y'all gotta calm down this inappropriate cousin Kim.
Brooklyn. I blame Amanda because she also has it with Austin.
I think it's just because she has like big, pretty eyes that like she just looks. But no, Cameron is doing it too. Cameron's leaning too far into it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is, and I think it's like a rapport and a friendship, but it's too much because y'all are cousins. Okay, stop the Kim. Stop the Kim. It's like
Mm-hmm.
stop the count. Stop the Kim. Thank you.
Turn it off.
Turn it off. It's just like when Sam and you know
Tyler.
Tyler Nicholas had like super inappropriate Kim. I was like, I know you Cassadines are weird, but y'all gotta stop it. Like y'all must. No, 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 no.
I'll fuck your brother.
It was just like, okay. It was like also this letter. I mean, I know you we get Soap Opera Digest and I send it to you, but there was like a letter, and I also just feel like there's this thing that like happens in this echo chamber, and I just want like I feel like I'm not watching the same show as people. So this thing that was like Carly never pays, and I'm like, where did this narrative come from? It's so weird. Like she legitimately like because the same people who say that are the same people who laugh at her when she gets something like thrown in her face. So she just had to like everybody's like she looks so sad about Sunny and Nina's proposal. Okay, so if she looks sad about it, that's like a not win, right? Like I just like I don't get it. And the idea that like jail is payment, I hated when Spencer went to jail. You remember that? I hated that. But like jail isn't the only payment. She broke. Like I don't know. I guess it's like we said before. If she's not like destitute in a bag or in a box on the corner, like people were just like she didn't pay.
I mean,
Like
I saw that like, oh, like people are using Nina as a punching bag. And I'm like, so what is it that you want? You want every single one of Sunny's kids to be like, Mama Nina, and like invite her to all the family functions while like Carly begs for like coins on the corner? I don't like at what point does Nina stop being people's punching bag? Like when she's no longer Michael's punching bag or Willow? Like, because those are literally the only two people. But when Jocelyn wants to get that journal back from her,
it's like I said, it's weird because Nina used Willow as a punching bag for a long time. It's just like again, I encourage anyone and everyone to go back and watch Nina's arc. Like that's actually it just in general, that's not true. Like it's just I'm like, are we watching the same thing? And I do think that part of it is because like certain sets of people are always on, right? Like so these are the people that you see all the time. But for me, I think when we talk about somebody being a pariah or a punching bag, we have to look at like who feels a way about them, who like is outside of it. So if like when Elizabeth saw Nina, she was like, "Oh, here come this bitch," before she did to Carly. Like or if Portia thought that or whatever, but people are generally nice to Nina. You know what I mean? Like it's a very weird like there you own a hotel that people still come to. You know what I mean? Like it would be different if we saw like these kind of ramifications where like she was like, oh, people saw that because like you remember when they had like Michael and Willow do that weird like spread on her or whatever. If like she'd have been like, oh yeah, less people are like subscribing to Crimson because of this or whatever. It's just like these things that happen in a vacuum and then the writers never like take them anywhere. Like we're supposed to believe that now, this is a separate thought, but like that now everything about Jocelyn is just scrubbed. Like that's not how the internet works. That's not how videos work.
Mm-hmm.
Like why is she not feeling any reverberations from this?
The spread that Ava did on Nina. Now they're besties.
Okay, or Nina did on Ava, the garden of the or secret or what was it?
Midnight in the Garden of
Garden of
Good.
Ava. Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Just
I don't
forgotten.
know.
Cleverly forgotten.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, any other hot takes about any other stories? Oh, Gladys is terrible. Do you think she's gonna like do something to sabotage Sasha?
I mean, I could see it. I could see it because it's a good like way to get Sophia off
Money.
campus for since she was like working up until like her water broke. Like
I cracked up when I saw that big bag, but Sophia's so beautiful. She's just like glowing all over set.
last week or like last week or 2 weeks ago, she posted on her Instagram that she was filming at 38 weeks. So
Yeah,
she
I
had
saw
to drop that baby.
that. That's all. I hope they had her sister on like standby again, like in case her water burst.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was
Like, damn, girl, you got a mortgage payment. Why you gotta? You should have already been up with your feet up.
right because they use her all the time. Why haven't they just stacked a bunch of her scenes? Anyway, but yeah, she's glowing. She looks beautiful as always. I hope when she comes back, she actually gets something and it's like substantial and we see it enough.
You could put her with Christina.
Yeah, you know, Michael loved to share girls with Morgan. Now he can share with his sister.
That part. I'm really looking forward to Michael and Christina scenes. I
Yeah,
really want to see Christina with her siblings. I'm actually looking forward to Christina and Josh since they've already set up that apparently they're best friends.
yeah. Stuff that we've never really seen. Like it was just like even when I don't know. I wish that they had like a different beef that wasn't Sunny. Like you know, like this is what I'm talking about. Like find some real beef. Anyway, ready for previews for next week?
Yes.
So we have an encore performance on Monday, Memorial Day. It's a 4-day or 3-day weekend, which I believe all weekend should be at least 3 days. So Laura hosts an important event. This is Tuesday. Sunny and Carly confer in private. Nina slips info to Olivia. Drew visits with Sam and Scout. Diane has an agenda. Wednesday. Jocelyn presses Carly. Gregory is contrite. Marshall assures Stella. Oh yeah, I forgot to say how much I enjoyed having Stella back. I forgot to say that I really like the Stella TJ scenes. Um, Stella also classes up the place. Vernie, amazing. Anna gets a bad feeling. Laura develops a theory. We learn from Soap Opera Digest that Anna will be arrested next week. So here we go for Thursday. Anna is in the hot seat. Valentine surprises Laura. Austin and Ava are interrupted. Finally, we get back to Ava's story that is not her talking to Nina. Jordan hides our disappointment. Trina and Josh conspire. Tross Rising. Um, Friday, Ava is gobsmacked. Ned gets into a public clash. Dante cautions Sunny. Curtis puts his cards on the table. Michael makes an offer to Carly. So, I mean, just to speculate, shout out to our friend Britt, I'm assuming that like there must be something that's going on with this, like, they don't want Carly to go to jail, so they have the Sunny footage. So maybe, that happens. I would also say, we barely see Drew with Scout and Sam. So I wonder if it's like they're trying, this is really Carly's fault. I mean, Drew did give insider information, but they told her not to buy that. And so I don't know if it's like somebody's like, well, this is Carly's fault, Drew. Do you really want to spend this time away from Scout?
I mean, it's interesting. I really hope that this ends with Carly going to jail. I hope that it ends with Carly going to jail because she just takes the deal to avoid all of this stuff, and that she's in jail when the Nina shit comes out.
Ooh.
Like, I want Nina to feel like she's gotten away with this.
Mm.
And for it to be Ned and Brooklyn being like, nah, like, fuck that. And
Yeah.
like, when it comes out, like, I want her to actually be a fucking punching bag that the soap in depth audience thinks she is. Because, like, honestly, she's causing so much strife. Like, I want them to come for, and like, the thing that people don't really seem to be grasping is that she is so connected to these people. Aurora owns Crimson. Olivia still owns half that hotel. And so, like, the people that you have decided to fuck with in order to get to Carly because nothing and no one else mattered, they control a significant portion of your life. Michael and Willow control your grandkids. Olivia controls half your hotel. Ned technically controls your magazine. He can sell it. And the deal you have with him will not transfer over to the new owner.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder, I'm trying to get my hopes up because I think that Nixon Falls was such a bad story. Like they did such a bad job with the fallout from that. And to be quite honest, it would have helped Nina's character if they would have done a better job. But also like if she's manipulating Olivia, Olivia is Dante's mom. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's part of the problem with the Nixon Falls Fall is they only told the story of like Carly and her kids and not like the full gamut. Like Maxie never really had heat for her. Like it was just like so like if they're gonna really tell this story from like that in a way that like justifies the buildup, then people need to have heat for her. It like she is being unhinged. I mean, like this is the kind of thing that can only end with her being like with a breakdown. Like everybody's mad. She has a breakdown. She comes out of the hospital. Neither one of us are like great Liz fans by any stretch of the imagination. But part of the reason that Liz was able to get past the Drusen stuff is because she became a pariah for real. That's how she got with Franco. Like, so if Elizabeth Weber, who has been on this canvas for 25 years, has to go through that, please explain to me why Nina Reeves doesn't need to.
Because Luis Bernard said that she was a different actress.
He did say that. He also said that a proposal was epic and that people told him it was good. And so I don't know who told him that. Who told you that?
Best work of his career.
Who told you that? Same vibes. You know what I mean? Like, who said that? So I do think that in order to like justify, and then I hope that once we have this fallout, that some of these people like fall back and we get to tell like new stories or bigger stories with different people. And they can still be there, they have their guarantees, but they don't have to like be centered in like the guarantees for per episode does not mean that every storyline has to center around you.
Yeah.
And that I think is what the problem is. Because our friend Emmy like posted these episode counts. And so for the year, Maurice Bernard is at 68, Cynthia Watros is at 66. Nicholas Chavez is at 65. Laura Wright is in at 59. Jeannie Francis, it's like, so Jeannie and Eden are both at 56. And then Tabiana is 55. So we've been telling this whole Willow, Cancer, and Michael situation, and in that top is not even Willow or Michael. I mean, so right after we have Chad at 54. So that is 14 less. It's 14 less episodes than Mo. And then we have Willow, who's the person who actually has cancer, at 49 episodes. Like, we not only are these people always on, or like the people who like have the most episodes, but then so much is also around them. And that's unnecessary. They could be there and be playing background roles. They can be there and be playing supporting. And they're not.
Here, here.
Here we go.
Who these people? Ooh, Sona.
Boo.
Proposal.
So next week we will not be here. I don't know, we might post something, but we won't be here because we're gonna be
somewhere in Sacramento.
Somewhere in Sacramento. They do have a riverboat, so we could call it the Hottest Star and hop on, try to take it to the ocean.
I mean, I am 1,000% down to do that. I didn't know they had a riverboat. What?
I saw it in a picture. My
state capital, I've only been once, and that was against. Well, no, that was to see Laura Wright and Cameron. Cameron was being held against his will, not me.
He was very nice, but he certainly powered down at some point. I think it was definitely when the women started like objectifying him. Like, somebody was like, "Take off your shirt." And he just was like,
But also, if he wants to, that's fine. I'm not gonna stop him.
This is not Chippendales, Miss Lady. This is. So maybe we'll do something on Instagram Live or something because we'll be together, but it won't be on our regular platform. So we will be back not next Sunday, but the following Sunday. Thank you again for being here, Tara, to talk all things CarSon Rising and
CarSon Friendship Rising. The CarSon circle of trust is being rebuilt. We're yeeting Sona and Nina out of it. We're letting Sunny back in.
Yeah, because somebody did write to Laura right on her Twitter, like she's gonna be so mad when she finds out what her kids are up to, and then she was like, "You have no idea," and then Eden responded like, "I'm gonna be in so much trouble." So that should be an interesting fallout because people were wondering. I don't know who was wondering. I never was wondering whose side that she was gonna be on. It was always clear she was gonna be on Sunny's side.
Carly's about to be so mad. She's gonna be like, "I did not raise you to be goddamn snitches.
I did not raise no snitch." Okay, she's gonna be looking at Michael like, "That's your quartermain side," and looking at Jocelyn like,
"That's the Jackson right there.
That's that Jackson you." Okay, because the Spencers ain't no snitch.
I rebuke it in the name of Aunt Ruby. I rebuke it.
I need Carly to call Tracy Aunt Tracy just one good time.
This is my final speculation because then we do have to go back this. I have to get something to drink, but I really want Carly to own Kelly's. I hope that that's where they're going when they eventually have to sort of, play Jackie's death and Bobby Spencer's death on the show. I hope she ends up as the new Aunt Ruby and she's just making BLTs. I don't need her to get the Metro Court back. It's tainted by Nina's stench anyway.
All right, and just like that, we will
Cynthia Watros, Performer of the Week.
That's not funny. That's not funny. We do like Cynthia.
I do like her. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I can hate Nina and respect Cynthia Watros.
No, I just feel like people always be thinking we're being facetious, and we actually are like we genuinely like do appreciate our actresses. So
The
shout out to
people
yeah.
who think we're being facetious and mean are on their 12th Twitter account because the other 11 got blocked. So I will not be having those people tell me I'm mean. Are you insane?
Ah, and on that note, see you in 2 weeks.